Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. I have a very special guest, Mary Jane. Hi, Mary Jane.
Hi, Michael.
Hi. I'd like to say all the way from Australia, Sydney, Australia, and has done me a favor by coming on just to talk about her experience of motherhood. Mary Jane, did you always want to be a mom?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't want to be a mother for most of my life. I had my son when I was 22, so I fell pregnant when I was 21. I was engaged to his father. We had been together for a couple of years. Probably wasn't until maybe a year into our relationship that I knew I wanted to have children with him. But yeah, as far as the years before that, I mean, as a young girl and even as a teenager, young adult, I didn't have any desire to have children at all. And now that I do have Leon, I want nothing more than to have more and more children.
All right.
Yeah, now I want more and more and more. Yeah.
Cool. Do you remember your feelings when your child was born? What kind of the emotions and
Oh, I was overwhelmed. I was really overwhelmed. I was drowsy, a
yeah.
little bit numb from the whole situation because it was an emergency
Oh,
cesarean.
right.
I was put under. I woke up in like a recovery room. So there was this big gap between when I'd actually given birth and when I woke up and realized I had given birth. So it was a bit of a haze at first, but once I came to and I actually had him in my arms and all of that, it was just, it sounds really cliche, but it really was a love like you just cannot compare to anything else. It was just, I don't have any words to explain exactly how I felt. I can probably just describe it as an overwhelming feeling of protection for this
Yeah.
child, love, care. Yeah, all of those things bundled into that moment.
Cool. What was something you liked about the way you were raised that you wanted to do for your children?
It's funny at the time when you're the child being raised,
Yeah.
you hate all the things that you then do as a mother. It wasn't until I was pregnant and I was
Yeah.
really thinking about being a mum that I realized all the things that I was going over in my head, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do
Yeah.
that. They were the things that I hated as a child, but I realized that it was necessary and it worked, even though I didn't like it at the time. So to answer your question, I knew that I mean, not in the early days, but I thought ahead, like when my child was, say, in primary school, the age he is now, he's 9. I knew that I just wanted to always be firm with him and keep things realistic. So I think there's a healthy level of praise that
Yeah.
you can give to your child. And then there's just, where you're just padding everything that they do to the point that you're just sort of distorting their reality. I
Yeah.
think when you praise every little thing that they do to make them feel special, I don't think that that's actually doing them any favors, because
Yeah.
that's not realistic and you're not really being honest anyway. And not to say that you should tell them the truth as it is all the time, but I just knew I wanted to be firm and keep things real, basically.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Because they grow up
Mm,
and then they get a shock about the real world because they've been protected.
exactly. Exactly. They think, oh, my mom tells me I'm great. You can't tell your children that they're great all the time if they're not. Yeah. So, and of course, as a child, I just felt like, oh, my parents are so, but I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good.
I
Yeah.
think so as
Way
well.
to be.
Was there was there anything that you promised yourself that you wouldn't do as a mom?
Oh, I think once uh, when I was pregnant and waiting for the birth of my child, no, there was nothing that I promised myself I wouldn't do. It actually wasn't until I became a single parent,
Hmm.
that's when there were things that came into my mind that I knew I didn't want to do. And probably number one was I knew that I never wanted to be the type of woman that would rearrange my relationship with my child so that I could have a relationship with someone else.
Yeah.
I knew that I would never do that. I will always make sure that my son is first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
was yeah. But as far as before that, before becoming a single parent, there was nothing that I told myself I wouldn't do. I think you can't really prepare for it. I was just not playing it by ear, but going with however it felt.
Yeah. Yeah. Trusting
Yeah,
your instincts and going with that,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
letting it flow and be more organic than trying to put these structures or things in
exactly.
place, and you don't even know, the type of child your child wants to become, or you know.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. You don't even really know them yet. So you have to wait and then you can go off that. Yeah.
Did you ever really know when you were ready? Did you ever think, yeah, this is the time now? And I know you mentioned something before, but did you ever feel like really ready, or was it just something that you set thought of maybe you'd like to do, but you'd never know until it actually happens?
That's exactly how it is. Yeah. I don't think you're ever really ready.
Mm.
And even when you're pregnant, you're still unsure. You're still sort of like, "Ooh, I don't know, can I? I mean, I'm a great auntie, but I don't know, parenting is not
Exactly.
the same thing." Yeah, it's like, it's not the same thing. It really isn't the same thing. No, I never really knew. And even once I became a mom, even up until my son was like 6 months old, I still was, to me, I felt like I could be doing it better, but I was getting good feedback from my mother and
All right.
other, yeah, other female relatives saying, "Oh no, it's really, you're doing fine." So yeah, I think, but yeah, I think we're all our worst critics anyway.
Cool.
So yeah, I've never ever felt like, "Oh, that's it for me. I don't need to do any more." I always feel like I could do a little bit better. Yeah,
Yeah. Challenge yourself, just like you
yeah,
challenge, yourself as a mom as well.
yeah.
What surprised you in your first year of motherhood? Was there anything that?
Oh gosh, what surprised me? What surprised me is how quickly I adapted to it. Definitely, definitely. I actually because like I said, I never wanted to be a mother. And I was never one of those women who, when if you have friends that have kids or friends that had little siblings, I was never the friend that would go over and play with them and be like, "Oh, hi, honey. Oh my God, give me that." I was not like that at all. I can't pretend. I'm not going to fluff things up. I have never been that type of person. But the
Yeah.
moment my son came along, all of a sudden I became little Miss Mosey. Like, I just became so soft and sweet and could not put on a front, but all of a sudden I knew how to be that friend. So yeah, I think I surprised myself as to how quickly I adapted to being a little softer. Yeah, that
Yeah,
surprised me.
listen, that's a good view. It's nice to evolve, and for something, something big that's happened in your life, to actually grow from it and
Yeah.
become a better person. That's a good thing. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I don't think I would do anything differently. I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing. I would still do everything as I have done it to date. I don't think, yeah, I don't regret the way I've done anything or feel like something could be done um, better. I think I had all of my core values at heart when I made major decisions. So yeah, no, I don't think I'd change anything.
No, I like that answer.
Yeah,
Because as human beings, we're always that perfect. But sometimes we just have to accept it that that's a part of the process, and
exactly.
that whole journey doesn't have to be this perfect journey of not making mistakes and not learning from our mistakes. Because for me, the process is about how we grow and how we develop as people. So why change that and try and be like, oh, telling your former self, oh no, maybe you shouldn't have done that. And we need to
Yeah,
make those mistakes to, you see what I mean? It's a part of the process rather than,
exactly.
you
And
know,
that's the thing, like, as with most things in life, it's not just whatever decision that you've made that has brought on whatever outcome
yeah,
came to light. There's lots of elements that contribute to things. So that's why I believe I wouldn't change anything I've done, because there's as I said, I always had my core values at heart. There was always that underlying reason for why I did something the way I may have did something or put some sort of rule in place. So I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
good.
Stick to your guns.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Just embrace,
Yeah.
mistakes and, learn from
Exactly.
them and move on and don't dwell on
Exactly.
it and try and perfect
No.
this path that you're
No.
taking because it's all a part of it and it all makes you stronger and makes you grow as a
Exactly.
person. So embrace
And
it.
life's not perfect anyway. Parenting is not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You change one thing,
Yeah.
something else falls down. Like, it's never going to be a perfect balance of work-life balance like people think actually exists. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You
You
just
make the best.
make yourself as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, that's all this about.
Yeah.
So how did becoming a mom change your outlook on life?
Becoming a mother definitely made me take adulthood a lot more seriously. When I was younger, I didn't take life seriously. I mean, I know most people are like that anyway, but I mean, like, I was really naughty. I don't know what here, when you finish year 12, you get something that's called your higher school certificate. And with that, you can take it to a uni and
Yeah, yeah.
they assess whatever mark you've gotten. Anyway, so I didn't actually get my HSC because I had skipped school so much, I
Wow.
wasn't eligible. So when I finished high school, I was just sort of, floating around, going clubbing, not taking life seriously. Once I became a mother, I realized, holy shit, I need to actually get a real job. All I'd been doing was working in clubs, living it up, having the time of my life. And then bang, I became a single mother. And it was just like, oh no, wait, I actually don't have any qualifications. So I had to take the scenic route, which brought me to where I am today. I finally finished my law degree, but had I not been a mother, I definitely wouldn't have done a law degree. And then that also sort of speaks to what you mentioned before about if would I do anything differently. Well, no, I mean, the breakdown of our relationship and all of the rest of it has led me to that path, to this
Yeah.
path that I'm on right now. Had none of that happened, I wouldn't have just finished that. So yeah, it definitely matured me and made me take life a hell of a lot more seriously than I was. Yeah, it's definitely lit a fire under my ass. I'll tell you that much. I got moving pretty damn quick. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
what it also done for you is the fact that you don't have a choice, do you? Because like you're putting it
Exactly.
out first. So what you're gonna do? What just say, oh no, actually I won't get a job, and you see what I mean? So it's kind of
Yeah.
so it's not
Yeah.
like that, that alternative of no, all right, then I'll just keep on going the way I'm going. And so yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It will, these things that happen to us, good or bad,
Mm.
lead us down a path.
Yeah.
And it's just going with it, as I said, and just accepting it, and that's a part of your journey. And as you
Exactly.
said, you would have been studying law, and at this point,
No,
and you seem really happy as well.
I
So
am very happy. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, at the time in the early days, you feel mopey and,
of course, natural.
but you get over it.
It's
Yeah.
natural, isn't it? We have
Yeah.
emotions, so things happen to us, they're going to affect us in a certain way. But I think it's just coming out of that and then moving on, and then you know turning something maybe you felt negative about into something positive, and moving on with our
Exactly.
lives. But
And
yeah.
even though at the time it was difficult because I had such a young child to
Mm,
look after, it actually helped me anyway, because I was distracted. It helped me focus on what was really important, you know. So yeah, happy
good.
days.
Mary Jane, I'd like to say a big thank you for coming on at such short notice. I asked you to do it.
Okay.
It was an absolute pleasure meeting you, and I really enjoyed that. And you're welcome back on my show anytime.
Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed that. That was good. Thank you.
And welcome. Hi, Dax.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
I'm very good. Thanks for coming on the show at such short notice.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Um, Dags is basically just going to talk a little bit about her experience of being a mother, since we got Mother's Day coming up. So it's just to honor all mothers out there.
Such a
Respect.
good way to acknowledge all moms out there, isn't it?
My mums have been such a massive inspiration to me, and means a lot to me. So definitely do something for Mother's Day.
Oh, lovely.
Did you always want to be a mum, Dags?
So I always knew I'm gonna be a mom someday. It wasn't really my priority. It wasn't on the list like a first or second kind of place. I always had some plans and goals and dreams to go towards to, but that was something that I knew it's going to happen. And I always thought I'm going to be a later, mom, kind of, my late 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
But it happened really quickly, actually. And I had this group of girlfriends, and they were always saying, that is going to be the last one to have a family and become a mom. Like I was just, always doing other things, and I was actually the first one. Funny enough. So
Interesting.
Yeah, so
You're the first one
happened
out of your
quickly.
group of friends. Okay.
Yes, yeah, happens quickly.
Yeah. Do you remember your feelings when your child was born? Like what emotions you went through when you first saw your child?
Yeah, I don't think you can really explain that feeling. That's the most amazing feeling ever. Incredible. It's just like you're shocked basically that kind of thing came out of you and you created. But my labor actually was really quick.
Oh, really?
And yeah, really quick. It was like 2 hours only.
Wow.
I went, my watcher broke. I went to the hospital, and obviously I worked with my midwife. She checked how much centimeters I was dilated, and I was, I think, 3 centimeters far, and she was like, "Oh, it's a long way, for this thing to start." So, just chill, lie down. And I said, "Oh, I would love to have a birth, pool birth, like,
Yeah.
giving birth in the pool." And she was like, "Oh, you're so lucky, because normally the pool is busy, like taken by someone, because obviously you're in the labor for so many hours, but
Yeah.
it's free. So let me run the water." So she left the room, and I was with my child's partner, and I was obviously lying in the bed. And then I just started feeling this urge to push, like just started pushing. And my partner was like freaking out, like, "What's happening?" And so the midwife came back and she was like, oh, you started pushing, okay. Well, in that case, I don't think the pool, you know, there's no point. So let me go and switch off the water. And she left again. So by the time she came back, she was like, oh, I can see the head. And
Wow.
just basically it was out. So it was really quick, no pain relief, no epidural, no nothing, live.
Wow. That is lucky.
Painful.
It worked out, isn't it? So
Yeah.
smooth. So
Yeah, and then when she put my son on my chest, I remember just him looking at me with his huge blue eyes and
yeah.
just like being very calm, like no crying,
Really?
nothing. And it just felt like he's just looking at you and thinking, okay, so this is how you look like. I can now put the face into the
Yeah,
voice. I can
right.
now, okay. Like that kind of like he was as surprised as I was. But yeah, it was beautiful. And then he just basically started breastfeeding like straight away. So great moment.
Yeah, I can well imagine. What was something you liked about the way you were raised that you wanted to do for your children?
So one thing that I really liked about my upbringing and how important my mom was like putting this importance on being true to yourself and to
Mhm.
others. And this is so important to me because I I can't actually lie. I'm a terrible liar. And my mom could always sense when I was lying. I have a very
Yeah.
expressive face, and I was just, you know, trying to come up with the story and stuff. And she's like, okay, I know you're lying. Or she would let me lie, and then later on, the truth would come out, and then obviously I would have the punishment, so I could learn the lesson. And she would always say, you know, truth always comes out. So it's so important to me to for my son to be true to himself and to others, and actually having like really clear intentions toward everyone.
I like that.
It's really, really important, especially in this day and age.
Being authentic.
Yeah,
You be
exactly.
authentic and be himself and not, lie and deceive others, and
Exactly.
not great qualities, are they, to be teaching someone so young when they're just learning off of you and they depend on you. So yeah,
Mm,
so definitely.
100%.
Was there anything that you promised yourself that you wouldn't do as a mother?
Yeah, so I think like when I became a mom, you kind of look back on your upbringing and
Mhm.
you, not that you judge your mom, but you just sort of like look things that you like and things that you didn't like, maybe that you would like to take forward or maybe, you know, dismiss. And then one thing that I didn't like, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to do it. And I suppose like looking back from my mom's perspective is because of the environment, the
Yeah.
circumstances, but my mom always encouraged me to make safe options or safe decisions. So not following my dreams, not taking a risk, but
Oh,
it's
great.
better to be safe. It's better to be
Mm,
secure. It's better to, you know, go for something, you know, like go to university, have a degree, rather than take a risk and do something crazy or follow your dreams. And looking back, a lot of my decisions were really, really safe because I always had this voice of my mom in the back of my head, like, you know, it's best to be safe. And I think like I really want to encourage my son not only to be true to himself, but if he wants to do something crazy, you know, do it, as long as it's obviously um it's not going to harm anyone, or it's not going to cause any, you
mm.
know, any troubles, anything like that. But you know, go for it. Like follow your dreams if you want to do. Make mistakes as well, because that's the greatest teacher as well. But you know, just that kind of, don't really stay in the box because it's safe, because of the rules and regulations, but it's just, you know, expand a little bit.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. Take risks. Go for what you want
Yeah,
instead of playing it
yeah,
safe.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
You don't learn
100%.
much from playing it safe, do you?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the older I got, I started to kind of be a little bit more adventurous. But it's a little bit more difficult now for me because I'm a single mom. So as much as I would like to, there is also, you know, the situation that I'm dealing with. So I can't really be
Yeah.
too crazy. But yeah, no, I think that's, you know, if my son can be adventurous early and just expand. that would be great.
Definitely. Some of your posts are adventurous, definitely.
Yeah.
What surprised you in your first year of motherhood?
Well, the first thing that surprised me was that I can do it. I think
Yeah.
I was very young, you know, I was 23 when I felt pregnant, 24 when I had Adrian. And I I I didn't think, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know how this is gonna plan out and what's gonna happen. In my head, I was like, oh my God, my life is over. Like I can't do anything. Like now I'm gonna be a mom. That's my label. That's it. And um and yeah, this maternal instinct definitely kicks in once you see your child and when you
Mm.
start, you know, being a mom. So I think that was the first thing that really surprised me, you know, like, you know, I can do it.
Yeah, that
So, yeah.
acknowledgement of, yeah, this is my situation and I'm in it now. And you know what?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm bad at
Just have
this.
to make the most of it. Yeah.
If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently, if anything?
I think enjoying myself more and
Mm.
appreciating that time. As I said, because I become a mom quite young,
Yeah.
when I felt pregnant, it was my final year at
Oh,
university.
really?
And I had plans, you know,
Mm.
plan was to move to London, you know, start a job. Like I had so many plans. And suddenly when I found out, I was like, okay, so I can't now. I have to stay where I am, become a mom. And because I was graduating, obviously I didn't have, after maternity leave, I didn't have a job to go back to because I was supposed to start that journey.
Yeah.
So so I had, you know, the whole pregnancy was actually quite difficult to me, like mentally and also
Mm.
physically. I had like so many different symptoms here and there.
Yeah.
And after pregnancy, I developed some health condition, autoimmune system disease. And and then also I went into I had postnatal depression, so kind of like all those things. So to be honest, I didn't really enjoy pregnancy or the first year at all,
Yeah.
because I was just so absorbed with my feelings, dealing with my emotions. And I remember it's just like a blur, to be honest. I don't really remember that many details
Yeah.
of it. And if I could do it again, I would definitely enjoy pregnancy a bit more, enjoy, you know, the first year. I remember also what was kind of like negative thing after pregnancy was my focus on, you know, how I didn't like how my body has changed. And it was just so consuming my, you know, my thoughts, like, you know, I want my body back, why is it not happening, and I don't like how I look now. And now I obviously have a much better understanding of why your body is changing and what it's doing, and so on. So I think, yeah, I would definitely appreciate it more.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. How did becoming a mum change your outlook on life?
Oh, massively. I think, well, first of all, you are become less selfish. You have more of
Yeah.
a purpose. You want to create something like security, stability for your child. You become like this kind of lioness of, like, you know, being really protective and really wanting to have that, you know, safe environment, a nice childhood for your child. So any situations, whether it's like negative, for example, you know, when I was going through postnatal depression, if, for example, if I had any suicidal thoughts, let's say, knowing that I have a child, you know, that just takes you away, and you
Yeah.
just like, no, you can't do it, because you can't be that selfish. You can't leave a child, like, you know, just because you're feeling down or anything like that. You have to go through it. And yeah, you just become less selfish, definitely, and you have more desire and more power to actually create something for yourself and for your child.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Definitely.
Yeah,
Dags, thank you very much for your time.
no problem.
You know, jumping on short notice to do this.
No problem at all. My pleasure.
The time I'm putting it out, I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dags. See you later.
All right.
Did you always want to be a mom?
So this is an honest interview, yeah? I can
This is
talk freely.
totally honest.
Okay. No. So I was pregnant with Alana when I was 17, and I just left school, and I was in a training program with a travel agent. So in my mind, all I ever wanted to do was travel. I wanted to be a travel agent. I'd started at the bottom as a trainee, was working my way up, and boom, found out I was pregnant. It kind of stuck a massive, like, I just didn't even know what to do with myself. I was 17.
Wow.
I was living with a friend, a very good friend of mine. Really didn't know what to do, and I thought I'm just going to be I'm going to be a single mum.
Yeah.
For kids, I always thought one day I would have children. I thought I'd marry, settle, have children, not in the way in what I was having a child. So no, children weren't in my young plans from kind of leaving school.
Cool. Do you remember your feelings when your child was first born?
Yeah. So with Alana, obviously 21 years ago, I had a very, very long labour with her. So I'll never forget that experience at the end. And I was really fortunate. I had my mum and dad with me when I gave birth, because my mum and dad were like my best friends. And I wasn't with the dad for various reasons. And yeah, I had my mum and dad with me, and I'll never forget when she was born and my dad cut her umbilical cord.
Really?
And
Wow.
yeah, put her on, like, brought her up to me, and I just remember thinking, wow, like, she is so gorgeous. I don't look at newborn babies ever and go, oh my God, they're so cute, because they all kind of have that same old person-y look, newborn. You don't really look at newborns and go, wow. But I did with Alana. She had really pink cheeks. She had loads and loads of hair. And I just remember my dad putting her in my arms and thinking, wow, like, I never thought I could ever get that feeling from anyone, from anything. Like, yeah, it was amazing. And the same with Alyssa, just absolutely fell in love. It's a different love. It's a total different love.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. What was something you liked about the way you were raised that you wanted to do for your children?
Nothing. So, and I didn't have a bad upbringing, but I didn't have a great upbringing. So my parents split. My birth mum left me and my sister when we were like 18 months old. So we were raised very, very well by my stepmom and my dad. And in a step family. So she had children already from a previous marriage. So we all come together as like a step family all together. And obviously we're going back, 38 years. Both my mum and my dad were real hard workers. So we were in childcare a lot, left with family and things, because they were really, really hard workers, my mum and dad. They really wanted to provide for us. But in that, there was a whole lack of love. Yeah. So I never felt, there was never no cuddles, kisses, I love yous. Time is precious, and we didn't get enough of it, because my mum and dad, quite naturally, where they're working long hours. I only understand this now, Michael, that I'm an adult and I'm in my own world. I can kind of look back now and think, okay, I understand, because growing up, I grew up a little bit of resentment towards my mum and dad, thinking, well, didn't really get that love and I didn't really get that. But it was time. So my mum and dad wanted to spend time together, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But in their wanting to spend time together, it pushed us away. So there was never any raw, affectionate love. Like I used to go around to my friends' houses and look at how their parents were with them, and I'd think, wow, like, that's really nice. And I just didn't get it. And my relationship with my parents is amazing. I don't have a bad relationship with my mum and I call my stepmom my mum and my dad, or my sister or my anybody. But I think the one thing I said when I was having my own children was, the one thing I was going to do was the reverse, and that was to shower them with love. No, let them know they were loved. Always have that time for them. Always make sure they were cuddled, kissed. kind of the reverse. And there's nothing, I'm not saying there was anything wrong in the way my mum and dad raised us. That was their way, and you know, we've turned out fine. But I think my lack of feeling that love has made me the most loving person, because I would never want anybody to feel in the way that I did.
So did you think that impacted your relationships as you got older with friends and partners and what have you? The fact that you didn't have that love as a
Yeah,
child?
I'm needy. I'm a really needy person. And that comes from that. You know, don't get me wrong, I've been through counselling. I know I'm a real needy person. And that's from abandonment issues. You know, my birth mum abandoned us, because that is what it is. Not receiving the love you want. So then I end up giving out the love I expect to receive back. And not everybody's the same. You know, when I first come onto this call with you, I said, I live in Kim's world. It's almost like this bubble of my own, which is just full of love. And that's all. I want the world to be a lovely place. I want everyone to love one another. I get a little bit itchy if I think somebody's text message is a bit off with me. I'm like, oh God, I've upset somebody. I'm one of them people, yeah. And if I can like naturally, I'm an Aquarian anyway, but I can naturally tell if somebody's tone's a little bit off, and I'm like, what's the matter? Are you okay? I am a bit of a people pleaser. So I do think it had an effect on me growing up, but not in a detrimental way at all. I do think it's just created me to want to love and be liked and like everybody. You know, I don't like hate. I don't like arguments. I don't like confrontation. And I raise my children around that, to love and to be and to receive love.
Yeah, that's great. You know, and that Kimmy's world sounds like a lovely world to live in.
I get told all the time, like, you've got to come out of this little world you live in and get in the real one sometimes. And I'm like, nah.
Everyone loves each other and everyone gets along and there's no hate. Wow.
It's long, yeah. And someone might tell me something and I'll go, no. And I won't even believe it, because I don't want to believe it, because I'm in my little world, and that world's a peaceful place. I'd just like to stay here, thanks.
What surprised you in your first year of motherhood?
Oh God, with Alana, obviously I was really young, so tiredness.
Oh, well, imagine,
Oh my goodness, it's a killer. But I had so much support. So I was a single mum, but I had so much support. You would have never thought I was a single mum. My mum and dad used to weekly go and buy her nappies, milk, wet wipes, anything she needed. Every season that arrived, they would have new clothes for her. You know, like I never struggled financially wise, because my parents wouldn't let me. And all my other family that was around me, friends, etc., had such a great network of people. I was really surprised by how the first year flew, actually. It just flew by. You know, before I knew it, she'd gone from being a newborn baby to 10 months old and walking. I was like, wow, you know, it flies. You have to, I know people say it, and I say it to people now, like, cherish every moment. I know it's hard, but cherish it. But actually, it really does fly. It's like blink and blink, and Alana's now 21. Wow. I don't even look old enough to have a 21-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And I think when I look at times now, Alyssa's just turned 11, and I think I remember Alana being 10 and Alyssa coming into the world like it was yesterday. And imagine she's now 21 and 11. So time is just, it's not a joke. It really is just flying by.
It does. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Okay, so obviously I love my girls. I would never regret anything with my children at all. Don't regret having them. I do think I would have waited. There is two sides to this, because I wish I'd have waited and maybe I have got a career now, but I wish I'd have waited, got myself fully kind of into the travel world and did a bit of traveling, met someone, you know what they call an ideal world, you know, married, bought a house and all the rest of it. You know, obviously where I had Alana so young, I was placed into mum and baby refuges, and then I was moved into a housing association. I still live in a housing association now. I am not ashamed of that whatsoever, and I wouldn't have it without my children. You know, I'm very, very fortunate. I've always had a roof over our heads the whole way along. So timing for me, I think. But when I say there's two sides to this, I'm 39 now. So looking back, I am so thankful I've had my children. You know, one's 21, she's flown the nest. The other's 11, and she amazes me every single day. I don't regret any of that. They're self-sufficient kids. But I've got gynae health problems, so I'm about to have a hysterectomy, and I never would have known that. So I'm very fortunate now, and I count my blessings that I've had my two children.
Yeah.
And that I have never left it until kind of even 4 or 5 years ago, which is a normal age for people to be having kids, you know, in their 30s. I may then not have been able to have children. So for me, I feel so incredibly blessed. It's almost like at 17, I was meant to have that child. I was meant to be, everything was meant to have happened, because it's brought me to where I am now. And, you know, God forbid I'd have waited and lived my life first, then I might have got to this point and thought, oh, I really want to have children now. And then I couldn't.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So there's two sides of it. I do not regret them at all. You know, I do wish I'd have had a bit more finances, qualification, a marriage, you know, like a real family unit.
Foundation.
But they've never, the foundations, but they've never suffered because I didn't have the foundations. So therefore, I'm good. You know, like I don't have any regrets.
Cool. How did becoming a mum change your outlook on life?
I think it's made me see things from like my parents' point of view. So where I was touching on my mum and dad working, so timing is so precious. I work full time. So since Alana was a few years old, I've always worked full time. I've had a job, you know, held it down. Even when I was better off being on benefits, I still had a job. And days are long, and I was studying at the same time. So I was doing an accountancy course. I've done every employment I've ever been in, I've always tried to excel even further and do outer qualifications. I've always done it. So my days were long, and my evenings were sometimes even longer. So when Alyssa come along, you know, Alana got put a lot on her, as in she was almost like the daddy of the family, you know, because I was busy making dinner, I was busy doing this, the stuff she couldn't do, but she could watch her sister whilst I did that. So for me, I recognised the lack of time that my mum and dad could spend with us sometimes, because I recognise how difficult it is to juggle everything. You know, I tried to do it all on my own with Alana, who was my child, whereas my mum and dad, time with your partner is so precious. So obviously I've been in a relationship for 6 years with my current partner now. So Alyssa looks to him like a dad more than anything else. That's like her dad. And we do try and make a lot of family time, family holidays. You know, we make sure we get one every year, Corona provided. But I think sometimes I do recognize the lack of, sometimes she's in her room and we're just sitting here watching TV, and I think, my God, I feel really selfish, because she's happy in her room playing Fortnite or doing what she's doing. But I then go back to my childhood and think, I wonder if she's feeling like I felt, you know, like I wonder if she wants me to. So I'll go and check on her and say, like, do you want to come and sit in here and we'll watch a film and we'll do. But she doesn't want that. You know, in this generation, they're all on their FaceTime, their consoles, doing whatever they're doing. She doesn't want to sit with, you know, me and him. So yeah, I do. I relate a lot back to my childhood, definitely.
Cool. Kimmy, I would like to say thank you very much, and
You're welcome.
Wishing you a happy Mother's Day as well.
Oh, thanks. Can't wait. I always say it's like I get spoiled always at the beginning of the year. So it's Valentine's Day, then my birthday, and then we have Mother's Day. And then the last part of the year, I always say, is like Chris's part. So it's Father's Day, his birthday, and then it's our anniversary. so we kind of get 3 each. So he was almost like, right, this weekend is the last weekend that you're putting your feet up, getting everything brought to you, and I love it. I love that one day where I can just be pampered, and I'm very, very lucky because, like, for the last 6 years it's been me and Chris, and he has literally spoilt me rotten. And I'm not his mum, like, he's got his own mum to spoil, but he will always make sure, because Alana, she's not great at things like that. She's, she might send a card in the post, but she's not the greatest at spending her money on anyone else, because she lives in London, you know how tight that is. So Alyssa, obviously she's 11, she hasn't really got her own money, she started to get pocket money now, so it's always fallen on Chris, and he always makes sure that I'm really spoilt. So the fact that they're not even his children, it speaks volumes for him. He'll always make sure that, that one day's for me. So I can't wait.
Cool.
And I'm gonna support mum tomorrow.
That's nice, isn't it? Really nice. Yeah, but all mums need to be looked after and appreciated on that day for sure. Social platforms you're on, Kimmy, for people to know?
I am only on Facebook and Instagram. That is it.
That's cool. And what names you under? Not Alyssa?
No, Kimmy Mills 82 on Insta, and just Kim Mills on Facebook. But I mean, I don't really tend to use, I'm nosy. I tend to use social media a lot to have a look at what everyone else is doing. But I told you, I'm in Kim's world. So my little world, my little bubble, I'm just watching everybody. I'm one of them. I like and share, but I do I'm an observer.
Yeah, I do most of the same, but obviously with the channel now, I have to do a bit more, putting stuff out there now, a lot more. But yeah. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, always.
Later. Bye-bye. Hi, Paige. How you doing?
Hi. Caught me put my lip gloss on then. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back. Paige is on just to, tell us a bit about, how it was being a mum for the first time, and just basically just to represent all mothers for Mother's Day, this episode that I'm putting together. So thank you, Paige.
Anytime.
Did you always want to be a mum, Paige?
Honest answer is no, because I actually became a mum really, really quite early. I had my first child when I was 18, so I didn't really even think about having kids. I was very much living my teenage sort of life, and then it sort of was like bang, motherhood hit me, and then I just sort of jumped in it from there. And then it was just something though that sort of I took to straight away. Like, I know not everyone like, wants kids in general. It's not for everyone's cup of tea type thing, but when it's sort of with me, as soon as I saw him, I've just never, like, you think you've loved before, don't you? Like partners or even like family. Like, obviously I still love them, but I've never experienced such love like when you first look at your child. That's when I was like, whoa, like I want to do this forever. I love it.
So that's how you felt when those first feelings when you gave birth?
100%, yeah. / like, oh my goodness, here's a child. What am I supposed to do with this? Just sort of like, there you go. And then you're like, wow.
What was something you liked about the way you were raised that you wanted to do for your children?
I think with me, I was raised with really high morals, but not too high where I ever felt like I couldn't speak out if I did something wrong or felt a type of way. So there was always, there was a level of sort of how you should act, but it wasn't out of the ordinary. There weren't no excessive sort of strictness even. It was just be a good person, have good morals, but if you did do something out of character at the same time, it's not life over. And I really wanted to pass that on to my kids and try and have as much as an open and transparent relationship without being too much of their friend, but not being someone that they could actually trust and talk to, and know that as long as you're a good person at heart, that's all that matters. And that was really keen for me to sort of try and push through.
Cool. Was there anything that you promised yourself that you wouldn't do as a mother?
Yeah, I'd say there was a couple of things, and it's funny because I promised them. I used to always say when I was younger that I'm not going to do this when I have kids, and then You really do. So like even down to little things like I was just say like I'm not going to moan at my kids about tidying up this much. Like it's my house, I'll tidy it because I'm the adult. And then I was an adult who had kids who would not stop messing up each room I was in. And now I'm like, then it's now I'm that mum that's like, I've just tidied the living room. I've just mopped the floor. Don't stand on the floor just yet. And I have fully turned into that mum. I can't lie. 100%.
Right. When did you ever know that you ever wanted to be a mum, that you were ready to be a mum? Was there a feeling where you thought, oh, this is the time I really wanted to have kids? I know it happened differently for you, but
I think with my second, because I was obviously a lot older than he's only 2, so I was 26 when I gave birth to him. And even from the offset, from the pregnancy, from the get-go, because obviously, like I said, the first child was a bit of a surprise shock. But with my second baby, it was almost like I'd craved it. I knew I needed to have that baby. Like, it was time now. Like, mama was broody. Like, there was something missing. And it's when people used to say that, I used to be like, look, we're not in like a Disney movie, honey. Like, you don't really feel the kid not there if the kid's not there. But there was something that was missing in my life. And I could not explain how well like my youngest fits in with me and my son. Like it's absolutely just, it's incredible. Like it was like he's meant to be there the whole time. Like it is nuts.
What surprised you about your first year of motherhood?
I think how good at it I was, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I put myself down quite a lot within things that I do, especially when it comes to hard challenges. But I'm not gonna lie, being a mother is probably the one thing I'll never put myself down on. And I'm obviously hard on myself to a certain extent, but I would never openly go out there and be like, oh, I'm a bad mum, or I don't think I'm being a good mum, because one thing I always know is that I've always got my kids' interest at heart. So I'll never, do you know what I mean? I'll never think or put myself down and say that. So I think, yeah, definitely.
Cool. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I get asked this question a lot, and especially because of my age with Jaden. And to be honest, I probably would wait a few years. Yeah. Only a few years, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to have had him sort of after 23, 24. But just that 5-year gap, I think, would have maybe just given my own, so for my own mental health and maturity growing up, so just let me allow myself to just be that last part of a teenager before I had to run and jump into sort of being an adult. Yeah. But at the same time, I love being a young mum because I just feel like I get to experience a lot more with them, in the sense of like, I feel like I was only a teenager yesterday myself. So yeah, but in the sense of, yeah, I'd probably would just wait a few more years just so I could, yeah, just really grasp who I am as a person, and then sort of know who I am fully, and then having to sort of miss that sort of not sure where I am at in life type stages in between that sort of age. So yeah, I'd just say probably just a couple of years with my first.
Cool. How did becoming a mum change your outlook on life?
Oh my God, in like so many ways. I think, do you know what it was? I was a very angry child. Like I had a lot of temper issues, and I was very much as a teenager, my way or the highway. And it's like, well, no, why can't you do it my way? I don't get why can't I do this? Or why can't I just act out in this certain manner or talk to people how I want to talk to people? And it weren't until I was a parent where I realised that I grew up a lot, and I was like, you don't have to talk to people in certain ways. You can't talk to people in certain ways. I can't go and act out if I'm angry, because I've obviously got to teach my kids that I wouldn't want my son to feel a certain way where he was so angry he just lashes out. And that's in a sense what I used to do. So I had to really focus on that within myself and really cut that down for myself, and really sort of bring back my patience that I should have had a lot more growing up, which I probably didn't do as much. And then just sort of, yeah, just focus on that and just really being aware of my actions, I think, and the implications of my actions as well.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Paige, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I wish you a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Mention your socials. What platforms are you on?
Okay, so I run, I'd love for you guys to go follow. I run the BLM page for Peterborough on Instagram. So it's just BLM Peterborough. And I've also, my Instagram is Paige with 3 E's XO, and that's just all of it's got my YouTube on there. I post all my sort of documentaries and stuff like that. So go have a look. And my YouTube is Paige Fraser as well.
Did you always want to be a mum?
Yes, I can say that. So, like sometimes when you have to look for the answer and you're not quite sure, I can say that with such certainty that I've said it before to people. I felt it like in my soul, like it was just, I didn't think about anything else. You know, people they want to grow up and be a doctor or a lawyer or a singer or a footballer. I didn't really have any of those dreams. I dreamed about being a mum, and that's the only thing I could think of. So yeah, I would say that being a mum has always been something, and it was a natural thought as well. It wasn't forced. It wasn't that, oh, you're a woman, oh, you must have children, or you get to a certain age and, oh, you're gonna have children. It was literally, I just knew it was what I was meant to be.
Cool. Do you remember your feelings when your child was born?
Like, I think the first thing was like, can you just come out now? Like, can you just come out now, please? I think I've never felt so scared in my life, but I think it was a different kind of scared. It's not the, oh, I'm scared of that spider, or I'm scared of the dark. It was like a natural fear, I think. I don't know. It was like, it felt right because you were about to do something that you didn't have no clue. And sometimes I still don't have no clue with things. You sort of learn on the job. So I think I just had these emotions of, I'm scared, but it's gonna be okay because I've got this, sort of like, I'm going to be okay. There's thousands of years of women doing this, they've managed to do it. Or like, I can do this. And I had people around me as well. I had strong women around me that I could sort of lean on. So even though I was scared and I was happy and all of these feelings, I just knew, like, no, I can do this. Like, this is what I've always wanted. So, and there's no turning back. He was there. I was like, I can't do. It's not like a pair of trainers that I'm like, don't know if I like these. It was like, you're there in front of me. I've made this decision. And it was one thing as well that I thought about the other day. None of us had no choice with being born.
Yeah.
Like, none of us. Like, we were all put here from our parents, and so none of us had a choice. So I was like, I've really taken this choice away from my child. Like, I've created him. So the least I could do for him is, you know, yeah, try and look after him good. So yeah, it was scary.
I totally hear you. What was something you liked about the way you were raised that you wanted to do for your children?
Okay, so I said this to you earlier. I was fostered from a very young age. So I was fostered from around 8 or 9 years old. So I have two different kind of experiences of life. I kind of see my first part of my life as split down the middle. From sort of birth to 18, I'm sort of down the middle. I suppose it was, actually. So I have one experience with my real mom.
Yeah.
Which I would say she gave me like a very bad. Do you know what? She sort of contributed to the reason why I think I always wanted to be a mum.
Yeah.
So I would say that she helped me see that when I became a mum, I knew the things that I wanted in my mum.
Yeah.
So she was, from a very young age, I had a little brother. The roles were reversed. I was kind of like a parent and she was a child, because the way she used to behave, you wouldn't think that's not how a mother behaves. So I already had to grow up so quickly when I was younger, and I was a young girl, and all I wanted was my mum. And my dad was ill. He had schizophrenia. He's had it my whole life. So he wasn't really any sort of adult role model to go to as well. So it's just me and my little brother trying to survive. My mum, I sort of, like, you know, as a child, I remember just pleading. I just wanted a parent, and I had two there, but had no one. So I think my experiences from her were that she showed me all of the things that I knew that if I did become a mum, I knew that I was going to try and be a mum for my kids that I wanted when I was younger. And I didn't want my children to ever feel alone in the world. And I've definitely felt like I was alone from a very young age. Like, I knew what being lonely was from a very young age. So she showed me that. And obviously once I was fostered, I was fostered by 2 women, one for about 6 years up until I was about 16 and a half. I class her as my mum. They showed me a totally different, totally way of what a mum is. So I'm glad I got to, do you know what? I'm glad I got to experience both, because it shapes kind of who I was and what I wanted, and my values and my beliefs and the way I see the world. I think I'm a very understanding person because of what I've gone through. And yeah, even down to, I kind of am understanding of even my real mum. I sort of look at her behavior and think, like, I kind of sympathize with her a little bit, like, and I feel sorry for her in a way. But yeah, it definitely did shape me as a mum, I think.
Cool. Was there anything that surprised you about your first year of motherhood?
How quick it goes. It does. It literally, you blink and your baby is all of a sudden doing things that you're told, oh, watch when they walk, watch when they do this, watch when they do that. And my son, because I've got 2 children, my son was born first. He was quick. He started walking, I think, at 7 months, and to me that was really quick.
Wow.
Because he just was too little. When, like, I just, he went from a baby, sat up, he crawled, and then he walked, and I was like, no, this is too fast, like, slow down. And then my daughter walked at like 11 months, I think, or 12 months, which I felt was more of a natural thing, and it didn't feel so much that I was losing her. So I think one thing in the first year, obviously having my son, I think that it went too quick. And I think it was the emotions I felt.
Yeah.
You just don't know love. There's so much different versions of love, I believe in, and the love you have for a child, obviously not everyone maybe feels it, but my version of it was just, you actually can't explain it, that you've grown this little child inside you. You don't know them. As soon as you see them, you just love them. So I think that amazed me, that this feeling, where did this feeling come from? I see my child, and yeah, that's it. Like, you just love them. You'd do anything for them. So yeah.
I like that. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I think I would. I'm trying to do this now. I'm trying to be more kind to myself with being a mother, because as soon as my children do anything that I think I'm failing sometimes, and I'm really harsh on myself. And yeah, as soon as they misbehave, or they go through certain stages of emotion and hormones and everything. So I'm at a point now where I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I'm now at a different stage. There's so many different blocks of them growing. And as I've gone along, it seems to be a consistent thing of me thinking I'm always failing. And that's one thing I think it would be, if I could tell my younger self, is to just be more patient with yourself, be kinder to yourself, and just know that there are so many of us out there as well that you can't get it completely right all the time. Like, none of us knew what it was like to be a parent before you become a parent. You literally are going along. And even now I'm learning new things. I've had my children now for, obviously my son, for 10 years, and it's a new thing all the time. So yeah, and I think another thing I would do differently, because I do want more children. I think this is why I'm a bit wary of meeting people. I would definitely take my time with meeting someone and having a child with someone. I don't think when I was younger I really understood what it was to have a child with a man. And obviously you don't always know how it's going to turn out. You could meet someone and they could be like perfectly fine for you, and they could be fine in themselves, but as soon as you break up, it could be a totally different person you're dealing with. So even if you did have a child with someone that was right at the time, you could think, oh, if we broke up, this would be a fine, we'd deal with this fine. But you just don't know how things are going to go, do you? But I would say that having more things aligned would probably help with that, you know, sort of really get to know someone. Yeah, like find a friend in someone, be like, just take your time. I think my thing would be, yeah, take your time in, even before you even get to children. If it's something you're thinking about and you know you want more, I definitely know that I am taking my time. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's it. But yeah.
No, I hear you. Slow down. Enjoy the process.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we get to that point, enjoy the process of dating and just finding out about each other.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I hear you. How did becoming a mom change your outlook on life?
It made me appreciate my life a lot more, I think. And as much as I am mum, and that is my title, I am more than being a mum. Like before I was a mum, I was Lou, and I think I'm even still trying to learn about myself now, because I think when I had children, I was not in a good relationship. There was years of domestic abuse and emotional abuse and everything. So I don't think I even knew. I was only young when I had my son. I was like 21. So I still hadn't, I was so immature and I didn't even know who I was. And I think, and then I become a mum, and that's it. I just become a mum, and that's it. I didn't think about nothing else. I didn't think about who I was and everything. So that got pushed down, and I just was mum, like mum. So I didn't look after myself. I didn't care about myself. I didn't have no dreams to do a job, or like I went to uni and things like that while I had my children. But I think I was just going through the motions of it, and I just needed to do something to look like I was doing something. But I kind of forgot myself. So I think recently more so, they really made me, I started to slow down a little bit, and they've become like my anchor, and they've made me appreciate that I'm alive. And as well, they make me realize I do need to be myself. And as much as I'm a mum and I'm so focused on them, I'm living as well, and I'm getting older, and the more I'm watching them getting older, I'm getting older as well, and I'm losing my life because I'm so focused on them and trying to make sure they're prepared for their little life.
No, I hear
that I'm forgetting about me. So I suppose in a way, they've given me more focus to be like, I, not just because I want them to see me doing good, just because you forget, you get so focused on them because they're your little people that you've created, that you forget that, hold on a minute, as they're getting older, I'm getting older as well. So that's definitely something I would say, that they've given me a lot more focus on myself.
Cool. I would like to say a big thank you, Lou, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. What social platforms are you on?
I am on Instagram. Do you want me to say my name?
Yeah, if you want to promote it, it's all about plugging whatever you want.
Yeah, plug myself. I might be changing my name soon, but at the moment it's simply _being_Lou with a double U, because I'm extra like that. But and I am on. You know, when you're trying to be a bit different. I'm trying to be a bit different, so I added the extra U on there. So I'm on there. I am on Facebook, but I don't really know what Facebook's for anymore. I don't know. So better to catch me on Instagram.
Cool. Thank you very much, and I'd like to wish you a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lou. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.